Hey, what's going on, Facebook? It's your boy Leif once again. Two Shy Guys waiting on my dude J Kev to come on. Let me see if I can get this stuff situated here on my phone. This brightness up. How you all doing on this election night in many places? See, Kev said he's watching. Let's see if we can get him on here. What's up, Miss Shauna? What's up, Meredith? Let's see if we can get J Kev on here. What's up, Paul? How you doing, bro? There's J Kev.
Yo, what's up? I don't know what's been said. I can never really hear you when you first come on. I can only hear you when I come on. I don't know what that is. Maybe it's because I got my earphones in, or I don't know what it is. But hey, family,
What's up,
thanks for
Isaac?
everybody joining in. Two shy guys at a mic just here tonight, Tuesday night. Hopefully, helping you get started and help you get stay warmed up as you go throughout your work week, your play week. I don't know what kind of week this is for you, but wherever you are, if you're in a slump, let us encourage you, inspire you, and help you to aspire to be moving on and constantly leveling up to another level, a next level, a whole nother plane of existence. So that's what Two Shot Guys at the Mic is about. I don't know how this is going to go because usually, to my detriment, I usually just get on these shows on the fly, and I try to be prepared and ready to be content filled and satiated. But that's why I am working closely hand in hand with Leif because Leif keeps me on the rabbit trail. You know, he's like those rails that keep me on there. So thanks, family. Thank you all for joining in. Hopefully, comment, like, share, let us know what you think.
What's up, Negative?
So we're going to be talking about a few things, but I think you titled the show "Faking It Till You Make It." Somebody asked a question
Brother
pertaining
Rob.
to that. What was the question pertaining to that, Lay? Talking about fake it till you make it.
Yeah, hold on 1 second. Let me pull it up.
All right, I was trying to pull it up
Yeah,
real
Brother Rob,
fast.
he said, do you believe that the notion of fake it till you make it is a contradiction or a part of a crucial success and survival strategy? So, should you fake? What's going on, Denise? How you doing? So, the question is, should you fake it? Is it, or should you not? It's really what he's asking. He said, is it part of is it a crucial part of strategy for success, or is it not? So that's the question that he's posing, and we'll again pose the question to you guys: should you fake it till you make it?
Yes,
Is that part of success? I have my own opinions about it, of course. But
gotcha.
yeah, we definitely want to see what everybody else thinks about it as well. So yeah, we'll see how many people we get on tonight because I know it's a election night across the country. It's basketball night. It's a whole kind of everything goes on every day. So
and
this day
and
no
of
different than
course,
others.
we always have some jump off points, but we usually end up in this. I usually end up in the kiddie pool by the end of the show, but I know usually you stay in the deep end. You too deep for me, bruh. So we usually use some topics as a jumping off point. But hold on for a second, if you don't mind.
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna take a
Give me
quick
one
look.
second.
So what's going on, everybody? Until J Kev gets back on, I'm just seeing how everybody's doing. Uh, did you vote? Didn't vote? That ain't what we talking about. But I just want to just get a gauge. Some years I vote, some years I don't. So anyway,
You want to jump in, throw in that election? It is This is election
yeah,
season, so you want to
it's
jump.
election night. I guess across the country, a lot of local elections, the Senate. I was looking at some of that stuff before I got on. My take on elections in general is just stay engaged in the political process outside of elections, because that's where a lot of people drop the ball. They get people in
Yes.
office, but they really don't know what they're doing, what their policies are once they're in office. So my advice to anybody, whether you voted or didn't vote, is hold the elected officials accountable and show up. Petition them, go talk to them. Actually, I would advise that you go meet them if you can. If you have the opportunity to go meet the officials in your local districts or jurisdictions, make sure that you do that. That's to me, that's just as powerful as anything else. It's often more powerful than just voting. Because when you want things, that's where lobbyists come in. People complain about lobbyists, but the thing about the lobbyists is they're there, they're engaged in the political process,
Year
where
round,
yeah,
year round,
year round.
constantly, every
So
day.
it's one thing to talk about votes, but it's another thing to get in there and actually do dealings with the officials, understand what laws implicate you in particular. That's really what most people go to the polls for. They usually go to the polls for themselves. They don't really take other people into consideration. You go to the polls to make sure that the things you care about get taken care of. So outside of the
Self-interest, yeah.
polls, make sure that you go talk to those officials, whether it be board meetings, whether it be council meetings, whatever it is. If there's some things that you have issue with, make sure that you show up. Make sure that you get engaged. And that's my only advice in terms of this. I know a lot of people, especially for Black people, like your ancestors died for the right for you to vote. My grandmother used to be one of those. She told me that all the time when I was a kid. But again, it's for the right. It's your right. It's something that you can choose to do or not to do. I don't personally, I don't care about that. I know other people have different opinions. I personally don't care whether you choose to do it one way or the other because we all know what goes on in all kinds of settings. However, I do advocate for everybody to participate because whether you believe in it or not, whether you believe in the process or not, it affects you. Period.
Yeah.
Government affects you. Period. Whether you care about government, whether you hate government, whether you love government, it's going to affect you one way or the other. So you at least need to be at least well educated on what's going on around you and how it affects you. So that's my advice to everybody. Just get your knowledge up because the thing about politics that I hate in terms of election season is the fact that you don't know who to believe or who not to believe. You don't know what information is real, what information is false. So there's a lot of, again, we talk about this all the time on our show about misinformation, the overabundance of information, and you don't know that everything is meant to distract you. It's all marketing. If you want to learn how to market, watch political
Watch a
campaigns,
politician.
watch politicians, watch where all this money goes into these marketing companies. And actually, this is a good season to be a marketer. It's past now because everybody's getting in office already. But
Oh,
election
the beginning of
season,
the year was a great season.
yeah,
Yeah.
this year was the year for you to be in marketing if you were ever to be in marketing because that's where all the money, you're going to make a lot of money doing that. We have people locally that have made millions of dollars from marketing political campaigns. So anyway, that's just my take on all of that. Just level up your information, level up your participation more than anything. It's the participation that's really where things happen is your participation in terms of outside of the voting. It's making sure that you get involved and that people know who you are and know what you're about. So that's my spill on that. Kevin's back now, unless he wants to say
Mhm.
something else about it.
No, I'll bypass that. You know, as we talked about before the show, I said politics make me take naps. Um, but those were very wise and salient and very right on time words, poignant words, man. That we are in an election season, and we are to be mindful, like you said, to at least increase our knowledge, understanding, and use practicality when it comes to some of the things, the decisions that we make, and some of the activities that we participate in, some of the things that we do with respect to politics and governance. Governance being that governing means to restrain or
Yeah,
to govern,
control.
uh, control behavior. So uh, governance, the republic that we employ the democratic process of upholding when it comes to using the democratic process to elect representatives. Um, the governance surrounding that. I forgot where I was going to go with that. I literally just forgot. I forgot where I was going to go with that. But just be mindful and just understand the systems that we live in, and that whether you choose or not to choose, as far as like voting, this during elections, just like you said, make sure it's a year-round activity that you cultivate, as far as at least at the very minimum being aware of who you put in and what they're doing. And if you vote for somebody and you put somebody in, that you stay on top of them, as far as like you said, writing the letters, going down to the places where they are and they have open hall, and
Uh-oh,
they
you
out in the
froze.
public.
Okay, yeah,
Huh?
you froze for a quick second.
Yeah, yeah. Going out and participating, and not making it a one night or a one time thing, and understanding that you kind of have an obligation or responsibility, if you put somebody in office, to check up on them from time to time, just to
And here's
see
the
what's
thing:
going on.
even if you don't, you have to be engaged with the people that
Yeah,
you
even
do
if
put
you
in office.
don't, you still have to be
Yeah, the whole point
engaged.
is just to stay engaged. Period. So, like I said,
Yeah.
the goal wasn't to even talk about this stuff tonight. But again, I do want to admonish people because I
Well,
always think about it from a business perspective, right?
yeah, you
So
can't help it. You have to.
you
Like you said,
have
it
to be
touches every
involved.
area of our
There's
life.
so much money. The government is one of the single largest buyers of goods and services in the country. So
Yeah.
if you're in business, you need to know what the government is doing, what they're putting their money to, and all of that kind of stuff, because it's going to affect, it can affect your bottom line. It'll affect your bottom line, whether it be through
Oh, it will
taxes,
affect your bottom
yeah,
line with
yeah,
taxes
yeah,
and
taxes, laws, whatever. You just need to be involved in understanding. And if you live in a small town, you have an opportunity to actually engage with your politicians where you don't necessarily have the same opportunity in a larger location. So take
yeah.
advantage of that. Definitely take advantage of that, because again, it can lead to so many different things. You're talking about grants. It just runs the gamut. It really does. So you have to get involved, and you are involved whether you know it or not. But you need to get involved to be proactive about a lot of these things instead of being reactive. So
It's
yeah,
just
that's
like everything. It's just like everything else in
be
life. Whether you
intentional.
want to be on the field or not, you are on
Exactly.
the battlefield. And for a long time, J.K. was on the battlefield. Didn't know he was on the battlefield. It's like,
Why
oh,
they
there's a
shooting at
battle.
me?
Yeah. What did I do? I'm such a nice person. I'm such a nice guy. There's some guy, but this right guy. It's a nice guy. I better take you out. So, so it don't matter if you're nice, lovable, and loving. It doesn't matter. You in the battlefield, so you got to make decisions and choices accordingly. And you pointed out, yeah, and you rightly pointed out the importance of staying involved locally, even more so as a
Yes.
higher priority than nationally or anything like that. In that local politics really do affect every area of your life. That's interesting because I seen a headline in the paper, in our local paper, that at a farm that I worked at a few years ago, where I would have the conversation with the owner, this, that, and the other,
Yep.
and it's like, wow, now I see, now I see how stuff happens, and it's interesting to see in real time how stuff plays out. So it's something that you got to be mindful of when it comes to your personal life and the moves that you make on the chessboard. Now, Kevin used to play checkers, but I had to sit down and learn how to see what this chessboard thing is all about. And then you realize, oh, they're not playing chess anymore. They're playing Chinese Go. or
Exactly.
they're
Yeah.
playing.
Like,
Yeah, it's
where
like,
did
oh,
go
I
come
thought you was
from?
playing chess. Now we stopped there a long time ago.
Oh
Now
yeah.
we're we're playing like multi-level chess boards with 20 games going on at the same time. With It's all kind of stuff going on. So I need all the help. Kevin needs all the help he can get. So that's why he has conversations with Leif. He has conversations with the community, and he has conversations with himself to see what we're gonna do and how we're gonna
Say
do
with
it.
himself.
Because truth be told, I can fake it till I make it. That's all I want. The truth is, I'm still gonna be here looking at my old self. In when I get out of the shower naked, that's the real. Now I could fake it when I got clothes on, but I'm sitting here. and I'm in the shower and I'm leaning up against the wall. And I'm like this in the shower. Water just running on my head. I can fake it all I make, fake it till I make it all I want.
No
Ain't nothing gonna
crazy.
change
No crazy.
until you get real and authentic about it, right?
Okay. So since you brought that up, so what do you think about the whole fake it till you make it? Is it part of success? Is it not? What do you think?
Well, that appealed to me. That phrase appealed to me when I was younger. But the older I get, I started questioning like, fake what till I make what? Well, what are you
Yeah.
talking about? What am I faking? And why am I faking it? And who am I faking it for? Because
Yeah.
I ain't fooling myself. Because myself, my inner man is like, you know, it ain't true. You know, it ain't real, man. Come on. So when I was younger, it sounded good. You know, the cliche sounded. Um, it just resonated. But the older I get, I don't know. After I hit like 40, I like crossed this line of just I don't know. I just crossed the line of just not really tolerating a whole lot and just trying to and just naturally being more abrasive and
No, how did I
just being
do
real about things. It's more of a we see wig. What you see is what you get. And in life,
That's weird.
it's the best honesty is the best policy in life as far as I'm concerned. Now I don't know exactly. I would like to have a conversation with with the person that brought that
Robert, yeah,
conversation up
Big Rob.
because
Yeah.
I like the ebb and flow of conversation, the way you can dig behind the layers and stuff. But just in general, it's a cliche term that's often thrown around, and just Mr. or Mrs. Google says that fake it till you make it is an English aphorism which suggests that by imitating confidence, competence, and optimistic mindset, a person can realize those qualities in their life. So it's another way of saying that you act like you have confidence, you act like you're confident, or you act like somebody who you think would a person with those actual qualities would be, versus saying, hey, you know what? I need to develop these qualities
Right.
and learn how to hone and cultivate these characteristics and traits in me. And that's what happened when I got in like my mid 30s. I realized my just going to the saying, I realized my shortcomings, and uh, I just started cultivating on purpose and with intent the
What's up, Josh?
quality of being a more confident person, the trait or characteristic of being somebody who's of competence. If you want to be of competence, you got to sit down and read, learn, articulate, aggregate. You got to do all these things. You got to actually do the work, right? So people can sniff that out real fast, especially with the internet. You can sniff out, oh, that dude ain't confident. That dude ain't competent. Let him talk long enough, and we'll see how competent he is. Or you know what, he don't seem too optimistic. I'm looking at his Facebook timeline, and brother's just he ain't very optimistic. He's pessimistic. You know, he ain't optimistic. What's he talking about? So there's just so many avenues for being found out that just the older I get, just let it be. What you see is what you get. And if there is some qualities that you want to manifest and realize in your life, then you define it, and then you figure out how to hone those skills and traits within you, with bring out those qualities within your being that's going to help you achieve what it is that you want, as far as being confident and being optimistic, and some of these other qualities that you quote unquote uh, may fake until you actually make. And just a small example was that the other day we were talking about something, and I just I sent you a link of one of the Udemy courses that I had taken from Vanessa Van Edwards. I always quote her
Hmm.
on the show and previous shows, just because it's just a particular person that I've latched onto
Yep.
as far as being a teacher and being a master and expert in her area, as far as nonverbal communication and teaching some of the qualities of when it comes to communication and connecting, and just being a more relational person, right? These are qualities that I lacked, that I have to continually work on. And I've read her books, I watch her interviews. She's got worksheets, so this is actual work versus me just saying I'm gonna fake it, and just versus actually doing the work, getting out the worksheets, defining words, and actually practicing how to interact and talk, uh, and actually practicing failing forward on the live streams, failing forward on the videos on how to make connections and communicate and exhibit some of the qualities that I deem necessary to deem in my life in order for me to live a lifestyle, to live my calling or to live my work versus going to a job uh,
Right.
in those terms.
So, so
So I know I said a lot.
yeah. So my thoughts on this, it runs the gambit in a sense. On the one hand, in terms of real authenticity, I don't necessarily buy into the whole fake it till you make it aspect of life. Because the one thing about it is you always feel like a fraud, and imposter syndrome is real. And what imposter syndrome is when people feel inadequate. So they feel like that they're not good enough to be where they should be in terms of, life, or the quality of work, or the type of work they do. And it's like, okay, am I really, this person that I say I am? So when the opportunities do come, they feel inadequate and at a loss, right? So that you have one side of that. But on the other hand, from a business perspective, it's, I don't know, because sometimes fake it till you make it. It can run the line between being overconfident, and so it's real one of those, is one of those things that, uh because I see what everybody's saying. I'll read some of the comments, and I can actually address some of those comments, because I can see the flip side of all of it, because
Yeah,
I've seen the flip side of a lot of these things, and it's not necessarily 100% down the line that this is real and this isn't. So
right.
let's address some of these comments real quick. Let me look
Okay.
at these real quick. I'm trying to go back as early as we possibly can. Let's
Hey,
see.
Meredith, Isaac, Paul,
Yeah,
Tamar, Stephen.
yeah, and this Rachel actually said this. She said there's a thin line between being confident and actually have the conviction of your value. And I think she was talking about that in relationship to what you were saying in terms of, being authentic to yourself, staying true to yourself, making sure, because sometimes when you fake things, uh, you exaggerate what you think is real because you don't
Yeah,
know. So it's
yeah,
like some people, like, their overconfidence is a fake it to the make it, because they exaggerate. I remember, for example, I was watching a podcast where this young lady was talking about, she was in a pitch competition. She was in a startup pitch competition, right? And she didn't know what, like, how to assess customer value, and she didn't even know what that was, right? So she was in a competition, and they asked her the question, so what's the lifetime value of this customer? She said, I didn't even know what lifetime value of a customer even meant. She said, so I made something up. And she said, looking back on it, I sounded real stupid, right? Because, she tried to be impressive, just throwing stuff out there, because she was trying to over fake, she was trying to fake it, right? But here's where you have to massage it. I get this whole massaging song. I'll play it for you sometime. Anyway,
uh-oh.
this whole where you have to massage that is taking it from being extremely confident to at least understanding the premise of what you're trying to do, right? So in other words, if you don't necessarily know the answer, or if you haven't done something, then for me, creatively, I'm gonna come up with a solution that may or may not work, but at least I'm going to be confident in that solution. Meaning, like, because again, I think about it. I know I'm rambling, but I'm juxtaposing it to the startup world where nothing exists and everything you say is made up in your head. It really is, until it's made, or until it manifests. So that's where I always think about in terms of, because, on the one hand, you gotta it's not even embellish. It's like you literally believe that this stuff is gonna work, but
Yeah,
it doesn't exist. So it's not even a fake. I don't know. I don't even know what to call that. It's in a different category. So maybe it's not fake it till you make it. Maybe it's just, I'm just
no,
gonna believe this stupid incredible, uh, hairy,
idea.
audacious goal that nobody else believes in until I can make it manifest. So maybe I just need to throw that whole segment out.
No, it's that's the beauty of ebb and flow when it comes to conversation and live stream and just doing things on the fly. You know, we this is a prompter free environment, talking
Yeah,
point free environment, so it's free reign. So the tribe out there, you all, whatever
yeah.
we come up with,
Chime in, because again, I'm just thinking through this as we're going live with it. Because on the one hand, I see it from a personal perspective, being like family and all of that. I'm about 100% keeping it real, right? You keep it
yes,
real, and you actually start working on those things. However, there has to be some dream left in that. And what I mean by that is there are some things that you will literally be flying by the quote unquote seat of your pants at, because you don't know
yes,
how it's going to turn out. You don't know what is going to
yes,
work out. And I don't even going back to the projecting confidence even when you're not confident.
yes.
Sometimes that works.
It
That's
does
the
work.
issue though. Sometimes that works. It's like me talking about how I get into all of these different places and I'm not even necessarily supposed to be there. It's it's projecting a confidence that I don't know if it's gonna work. I just put it out there as if it will, and most of the time it does. So
Well, I
it,
think that what Rachel Knox said fake it till you make it is not good if you notice that you're dealing with, or you may be dealing with, imposter syndrome. So maybe it's on a sliding
yeah,
scale
but here's the
spectrum.
problem with imposter syndrome. With imposter syndrome, you may actually have the skill set to actually do the work. You just don't feel adequate to do it.
Right.
Because think about it, there's plenty of people that are famous. If you watch stories, if you look at biographies, there's plenty of people like, okay, this doesn't even seem like this is real. Like all of the things that are happening to them is like, why me? Why am I the one that's being put out there? Why am I the one that's being projected? Why are people following me or whatever? And so imposter syndrome can carry along. I mean, we talked about suicides and things like that. Those things don't necessarily leave you, even if you do have the pedigree or the work
Yeah.
to back it up. That doesn't necessarily change that, but sometimes you still feel inadequate. So that yeah, like I said, it's a hard thing because before we started, I was like, nah, imposter syndrome. I mean, fake it till you make it. That's whack. Don't do it. But then as I started thinking about it as you were talking, I was like, you know what? I always think of there's other caveats to where it actually worked. And
Yeah.
so that's the hard part about, is it necessary for success? No, I don't believe it is.
Well,
For some
we can
people,
go with,
yes. For some people, it is.
yes.
So go
So
ahead.
it say it's a tool, and that's a tool that you can have in your toolkit when it comes to wherever, whatever journey or crossroads you may be at with respect to some point in your life. That if you need to pull that tool out, then you could pull it out. As far as like the example of, you talked about projecting confidence, even when you know that really you're not really that confident about
Yeah.
something.
And
So maybe it,
because again, I'm the always. It's funny. I was laughing at a post Lamar put. Actually, I put the post, and he said it depends, right? Because that's my default answer for everything. It depends. So because
yes,
Rachel said you can't fake the work, and my default answer to that, it depends. Because some work you can fake, because some work you don't have to do yourself. So
yes,
I mean, think of man. And when we talk about impossible, there's different levels of it. So maybe we'll talk about it on situational levels, right? Because it's one thing to
yes,
fake confidence, and it's another thing to fake. Okay, yeah, I did this. I did somebody else's work where I'm actually stealing something. So you see what I'm
yes.
saying? That's fake. So there's different levels of it. So let's address it from a situational perspective as opposed to a blanketed statement. Because when you make
Yes.
blanketed
Okay.
statements, it may
Um,
apply.
that's that's a good distinction to define, because a lot of times we'll have overarching, broad brush, high level uh, talks. That's really where a lot of our talks stay.
Yeah.
And then sometimes we'll bring it down to, like you said, more situational, circumstantial,
Yes.
where you start to go into, well, it depends. We can take this
Something like that.
idea, but we're going to have to bring it down and customize it
Yeah.
for your particular
Yeah,
circumstance.
because it varies, and it varies on situation. It varies time. It varies on the level of the fake, so to speak. It's a whole lot of different things, and you have and here's the one thing that you have to be uh, cognitive cognitive of is the fact that okay, if you put yourself too far out there, then it may crumble everything you have or everything you do.
Yes,
And some people are willing to take that risk. I mean, sometimes the gamble pays off, and that's the thing. It's always risk rewarded that you have to weigh in. You know, it's like if you crash and burn, is it a crash and burn that's worth attempting, or is it something that is not? I mean, because that's always the thing. Because you can't have big wins without big losses involved, right? So it's those kinds of things that you have to juxtapose against. It's like, okay, I know I could crash and burn. I could lose everything I own. I could lose my friends, my family, because a lot of people make those gambles, and a lot of people lose those gambles, right? But sometimes they make those gambles multiple times, and when it pays off, everybody thinks you're a hero, right? So
right.
so again, I'll back up and go to levels. Let me answer some of these questions, and I'll get back to Rachel's comment about work. How about
All
that?
right. Yep.
Let's see. Josh Wheeler said there's a time and a place for it, but sometimes that's what you have. If you can back it up with talent, then go.
Yeah.
Let's see. Somebody else said time and place determines when I walk it like I dream it. That's Denise. Um, okay. So and then Rachel said you can't fake the work. Well, here's the thing. It depends on what the work is. If it's something that you have to perform yourself and somebody's gonna look at you do it, then you can't fake it. However, if people are only looking for results, then you can fake the work all day. You can just get somebody else to do it. It's really that simple. I mean, it's like it really is. The only thing that I think that you can't fake is surgery. But everything else, I mean, I can literally come up with a scenario how you can fake everything else.
Well, you making me think of that movie, Catch Me If You Can, where old dude
Oh, yeah, he faked everything.
faked it all day.
And
Yeah.
now he works for the FBI telling them how to spy fakes. So think about it. It worked for him in the long run. Now it
Eh,
did.
well,
Because think about it. He's doing
well,
videos, he's teaching seminars, and he's still working for the government. so, so,
I
so
don't even know where to go with that one.
I mean, he is, and so it's the thing. It's like, okay, you really have to, I guess, break it down to what values you want to have, and
Yes, and
and
that's what I
what
was thinking of.
and what things
Where
you want to
are,
do.
yes, where's your value system rooted at? What principles are your values? Where are they rooted at when it comes to the soil of thinking and morality? Where is that rooted at as you level up and grow in this world, in as far as the strategies and tactics, such as faking it till you make it? Where's your principles rooted at first and foremost? I guess you could say,
Yeah,
as you
and
so
again, it's like, what are you faking? Because one of the things that you said that is really important is is the fact that with the internet now, everything is searchable, right?
it's searchable,
You can
and
tell,
with the blockchain, it
yeah,
ain't changing.
yeah,
Yeah,
everything is searchable in terms of being able to see if somebody is holding up to their end of the bargain of who they say they are, right? Eventually, you can find it out. It's one thing that I know for sure. There, you can find information on just about anybody. There's very few people on the planet that you can't find information on. I'll put it that
right,
way, right? Because you have to be very mindful to keep your information off, and you can't even control that. A
nope,
lot of it you cannot control yourself. So some things it's like, are you being fraudulent? That's different. That's a different kind of fake. That's a different kind of category of fake to me. Fake it till I make it. Where I'm telling somebody I'm going to invest in their business and I have no money, right? that's fraudulent.
That's
Uh,
straight up lying. Yeah.
no, I mean that's what I'm saying. Like, what categories do we go? Rob is not here to defend or justify his question, so I don't know.
That's why I said
Yeah,
I would rather have somebody on the way you can start peeling back the
but that's
layers and
that's why
go
we can have an
through.
open conversation and we can just meander with it for a little bit.
We can go all over the place with it since he ain't here.
Takia said, "Y'all better stop faking like y'all don't see my comments." I don't even know what you said about Fortnite dancing.
uh, well,
I don't know. I ain't sweating that. I ain't sweating your
hold
Fortnite
hold
comments.
up. What's the Fortnite? Where's it at?
I don't know. That's why I said it's buried in here somewhere.
Let me get up here
Here,
and
I'll read one of her comments though. She said, "Here's the thing about limitation and why that falls apart. In my opinion, people typically imitate the result of real work. If people would mimic the work involved, then they would have the real results of doing the work." Uh, she said, "I need you to confidently show me that Fortnite Running Man." Yeah, my camera is landscape, so I mean I can do all the Fortnite dances. I mean I was doing them when they were around, so that's what's crazy. So
well, I started just like sporadically. I sent you that link, the Fortnite link video with the way
oh,
that's doing the Running Man.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because I didn't know it was a new version of the Running Man out, and my son was just playing it the other night, and I was like, "What's that?" It's like, "That's the Running Man." It's like, "Ain't the Running Man. This is the Running Man." And it's like, "Ain't the Running Man. This is the Running Man." I was like, "Well, that's new. I ain't never seen that Running Man." So now it's like I'm over here trying to practice a new Running Man, and then I started practicing all the other dances like intensity and so
So Kevin be
I just
practicing.
said, "Oh, oh man." So that's my end of the year goal is to get all seasons of all the Fortnite dances down.
Okay,
Right
I got
now,
you.
right now I like hype. I like getting hype. So that's
I
my
don't know none of
dance.
the names. I don't know none of the names.
And my next one up is Running Man. I'm gonna learn that one just because I like the way it looks. It's just fun, man. You gotta have fun. That's what Kevin does in his free time.
Uh,
He's 40 years
we
old.
we
He ain't
try to
going to the
level up, and
bar.
Kevin over there practicing Fortnite dances. That's why we can't get no Instagram posts.
That's what I do, man. What else a brother supposed to do? I don't go to the bar. I don't go to the clubs. I just stay home and practice Fortnite dances. It's just what it takes all kinds of people. It's a big world out there.
uh, So yeah, you have to do it and make it go viral. Uh, Chrissy Johnson Markham said sometimes uh, it will work in your favor, but how long will you keep it up? And in the processes, you never know who you can hurt. Granted, I get when you fake it like you have it all together, but at home behind closed doors, you're miserable, hurt, depressed, etc. But here's the thing.
Man, that's a deep comment because I was thinking along those lines earlier, and that like I was saying, like when I was younger, there were some things I was guarded about as far as like being vulnerable and letting people know about things that you're going through and not really wanting to ask for help as far as pride, and you
Yeah,
just fake like, oh yeah, I got it all together, I'm good, this, that, and the other, and then as opposed to like she was saying, you can only fake that for so long, and eventually the facade will be found out, or the facade will fall, and it takes a lot of energy to hold up, faking it to you quote unquote making it versus just letting things be. And like I said, what you see is what you get, and just being authentic. And if there are some qualities that you want to be or exhibit or manifest, then you're just going to have to put in the work and learn how to exhibit or manifest those qualities the best you can with the personality and the traits that you have.
now here's the question that I have based on that. Right, this is to everybody. This is not just to Kevin. Uh, at what extent does it? When is it actually real though? Think about conversation in general,
Well, what
right?
other
So
people? Well, one of the markers of that is when it's real is when other people comment on something that you've been working on in private and hadn't really expressed. Does that make sense?
no,
Well, some people other people can be an indicator or be used as verification of that you don't have to fake something, that you're actually exhibiting it, and you know what you know in during the interaction whether
Yeah,
that
because
person is
here's why I'm saying it, right? Because now
mhm.
I'm thinking of it from a different perspective. I'm thinking it from a social, relational perspective now, right? Think about people go to clubs, they go to bars, they go to meet and greets, they go to
Yeah,
mixers, they go to all of these different things to where they put on a facade, right?
yeah,
So if the facade is not your authentic self, aren't you faking it?
yeah,
So again, my question is, when is it real? Like, because if we're big on it, think about it, it's election night. Think of all of these fake it till you make it politicians that are out here faking it while they're making it at the same time. And
well the
people are,
proof, again the proof is in the pudding. The proof is in the behavior or the act the documentable behavior that is expressed. I mean, I could fake it, I could sell you and fake something as a politician all day long, but when it comes to actually saying yay or nay on a vote, that's going to exhibit it, and then I have to look at the trend of the votes. Does that make
it doesn't
sense?
matter though. Think about it. We have a let's see, what's his name? Mitch McConnell. He's been in been a senator for almost 40 years.
But like you said, the truth has a way of coming out, whether you
But
try to hide it or not.
but again, I'm not even talking about whether truth comes out or not. Think about all the scandal that we see in Congress. Again, I'm using that as an example. I don't.
Hmm.
I'm just talking about this fake it till you make. Is it part of success? Right? Is this fake part of success? Is it a critical part of success? And in certain fields, I would say it is. It's very much a part of success because these people fake that they're one way, righteous, virtuous, all of these things that make people vote for them, regardless of what their history is. They keep this same air of I'm that person regardless, right? So good thing about it now, Bill Clinton is Mr. Beloved. At one point, he was having sex with all of these women. Uh, he was one of the first people part of the Me Too movement, and but nobody mentions him. We're talking about Cosby now, so it's like this fake persona of ambivalence and all of these things. In certain circumstances, it actually works. So fake it till you make it, and I'm not saying that you should, but it works in terms of success. I mean, some people have actually succeeded because of those things.
I'd have to sit down and really think about what we're all low. I
Yeah,
can't keep
because
up.
again, I'm just thinking in different industries, right? As a doctor, you can only do it for so long. You're gonna get medical malpractice. People are gonna call you out. You're gonna get fired. You're gonna be disbarred because people have done that. I've seen where people have fake being doctors in all of these different locations, and they finally it caught up with them because when you get banned in one place, you can just go to another. Think about it. We saw that the Catch Me If You Can guy did that as well. He faked being a doctor. It's like he wasn't just doing money. He was a doctor. He was a fake pilot. He was a fake. Let's see, what else was he? A fake salesman. He was a whole lot of different things, and he got away with it for years.
I don't know, man. It's just it's like I feel like I'm in the MMA verbal ring,
Rachel's telling me to
MMA.
focus. Now I'm all over
That's
the
what I'm
place
saying.
tonight. I'm hitting
He's just
everything.
he's like
Like,
Ali. I'm just like I don't know. I don't know.
like
It's
with the
like I'm
guy
saying. It's
said.
like I feel like dude from Menace to Society where he's sitting in a chair, he's getting interrogated, and he hit the mirror. He's like, you done messed up, man.
Oh yeah, yeah. You say
You
messed
know you done messed
up.
up. It's like I don't know.
Yeah, because again, I'm just thinking of all of this stuff, and then the miles that what if a person is in transition? It's like transitioning from not being good to being good. I don't know, because again, what is the qualifier of being a fake versus being an authentic real?
Hmm.
More people answer some questions because Kevin's over. He ain't helping. I just
But guess who I found though?
I don't know.
Guess who I found?
I don't know.
And he definitely he don't fake nothing.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Kev.
Brother Bro Biggums.
Okay.
He don't fake.
So this
He's
is
real.
what Kevin does when he don't answer. He's like, I'm gonna just step out of this one and put the bear up.
I'm just I'm like stepping out of the ring now. Like,
All
yeah.
right, we have an answer. Miss Chrissy Johnson,
Okay.
she said it becomes real when you accept the fact that you realize there is a problem depending on your situation, circumstances, but it doesn't have to keep you to there when you constantly faking it till you're making. Of course, you're going to believe it. The lies you're telling yourself. You're supposed to be true. Uh, supposed to be your true self and love yourself as God intended you to be. So she's talking more internally, in terms of how you feel how you yourself basically accept yourself. Are you going to be true to yourself? Do you tell the lie to yourself long enough till you believe it? All of these kinds of things, right? Yeah, it's like Kevin missed his
That is so
answer.
true. That who said that?
Miss Cheryl spoken
Yep.
like a true mama. She's like,
She's right on target because I got coffee in here and I was a little sleepy earlier, but then I was like, well, I know if I stay off too long, then I'll be
yeah,
hearing
I
from
have
late.
force
And
Kevin. I had a strong arm. I'm like, you getting on tonight, punk? But let's see.
all right,
Rachel said this is the question that will never end. It just goes on and on, my friend. Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like because again, the more I think about it, in certain circumstances, it actually works. It works big time. Look at rappers and all these people. It's like
well,
once they fake it and then they make it and they keep making it because eventually some people don't care, some people do, and then sometimes the criteria changes. So depending on what the criteria is for whatever particular industry, it may work, but in other cases it may not. And again, at the end of the day, it boils down to you personally. What do you want out of life? What are your morals, your values? And again, what is the
yes,
qualifier that something is fake? That's the real thing
yes,
that I ask is what is the qualifier that something is fake? If I haven't achieved something in my mind, I know I can. For example, I give you a business example, right? I remember being in an office one time, and they were talking about a particular problem. I was like, "Hey, I can make that." Never made it before in my life. Never did anything like that before in my life, but I believed I could make it.
but you was
And
confident. You
yeah,
had to have real
but think
confidence.
about it. Nothing existed. And this is why I
Fake.
say
Well,
this is
that's the
where
thing. Fake.
the thing lies, right? And it's like,
Well, what that whoever says that has the real confidence to be able to make that statement. You can project that confidence, but then the proof comes out in the pudding on whether that confidence was realized or worth putting any salt in or
but here's the
not.
thing. But I don't even know. And again, we're really going back into nuance because I don't even know if that's called fake because some people their past experience says yeah they've made something similar but they can't
Well, that
produce now. So were
well
they
that goes back
faking?
to confidence.
No. Sometimes it's just you just can't do it. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. Like you may have the skill set to do something, but you may not be able to figure it out, right? And so it may not necessarily even be a fake. It's like you believed you could, but you couldn't. So does that make it fake?
Hmm.
You see what I'm saying? Because just because I've built software before doesn't mean that it's like okay I think I can build this software. Yeah, we've done this before, we've done that, and then when we get into it, it's like oh there's differences, there's changes that are there that I never anticipated. It's not that I was faking it. You feel me? Sometimes things just take longer. Yeah, so because you succeed at something doesn't mean it was real. See,
I'm just shaking my head now.
yeah, he kind of like I don't know. Uh, Rachel
No,
said,
no.
go
Okay,
ahead.
go with Rachel.
Okay, Rachel said, but faking the externals takes a toll on your internals, inner self. If you are damaging yourself, then it is not good long term.
Yes,
And then Miss
and
Cheryl, go ahead, bro.
go ahead with Miss Cheryl.
Ms. Rossi, I was watching this documentary on weights and measures. Turned out that the same item can weigh different weight based on climate, altitude. So I guess she's just saying that it's not always what it seems, right? Sometimes things are
Right.
different it changes. And then Miles says the devil is in the
Devil's in the
details.
details. Now, some very important key things that you said again that we keep circling back to because it's very important. You talked about the values
Yep.
and where your value system is rooted. That matters when it comes to employing the strategy or tactic of faking it till you make it. And then also, if you can do a quick Wikipedia search and kind of see that the whole concept does have some behavioral, some cognitive behavioral uh, principles tied to it when it comes to behavior, feelings, and thought, and how all these things and we talk about it a lot on the show
Yep.
as far as we'll quote heart, mind, and behavior, right? So you can go either way with maybe you say, you know what, I know I'm not a very confident person, but how do I think a confident get a model, an example that you a person that you think is confident, and then you start to model yourself after that person, knowing that you haven't achieved that level of confidence, but you start to mimic and use as an example the person you think or believe exhibits that characteristic. So you start to hone and take on the qualities of a confident person. And you start to act and walk and be like that. So that's one aspect of, I guess, an example of faking it till you make it using confidence. But it does have some real world, scientifically um, researchable, proven principles tied to it, and it's often employed in the cognitive behavioral therapeutic line of work or whatever,
So so
psychosocial
basically
intervention and stuff
so
like that.
basically what you're saying is it really boils down to confidence.
No, it's not. I'm just using it
Yeah,
as an
no, but
example.
because again, I was thinking of a real world example. I use myself, right? I remember I got hired on at YKK. I was to design like 3D whatever, right? I never used any of the programs before. I was like, yeah, I can do it. They gave me a test, and I did it. I never did it before. I never tried it before, but I believed I could
But you
do it.
had confidence. You
That's
ended
what I'm
up
saying. Was
were
that a fake?
confident. No, it was real confidence.
But no, but you see what I'm saying. So, and that's why I'm just trying to figure out like where like the nuances are for the whole fake it till you make it. I know we read the Wikipedia definition for it. What does it actually mean to you guys? That I'll
I'm
poll the
just
audience
I I'm just truly astounded that there are still people viewing and watching this show after we.
because it's
So I'm
interesting. It's like because again, think about it. It's a mantra that is pushed in our society. Period.
and nobody really breaks down what it means
Yeah, it's like
or how
fake
you're
it till you
supposed to
make it.
apply
You
it.
you hear some people talk about it, and it's like, because think about. I mean, when you think about marketing, marketing is all about a lot of this stuff.
Hmm.
It's all about false value and all of these things that we talk about. It means winging it, but you can. Everything is winged though. Business, the banking system, the things that you think are so concrete, a lot of that stuff is winged. Software,